Okay, so that is the basic use of quantitative analysis. Okay, so we start our class with some introduction about quantitative analysis. So what is quantitative analysis and why we need it? Okay. Alright, so this is the learning objective for this chapter. Okay, so we have 7 learning objective here. Okay, and then this is the chapter outline. Okay, so we start. Okay, the let's we start the class with some introduction. Okay, so mathematical tool has been used for thousands of years. Okay, so in human activities, okay, human daily activities, we always encounter with mathematics. Okay, for example, if you are driving, you must know what is your speed limit. Okay, your speed limit is number. Okay, that is that is part of mathematics. Okay, and then if you want to you want to pay. Okay, so you have to add. Okay, for example, you go for lunch. Okay, you want to pay for your lunch, so you have to add on the price of your food and also the price of your drinks. Then you get your total. Okay, so the operation of the summation operation of both prices, that is also mathematics. Okay, so mathematics is kind of like a fundamental to human daily life. Okay, so we always use mathematics in our life. We use it to quantify, we use it to summation, okay, sum up the price. Okay, and then maybe we want to subtract the numbers. Okay, we also use it to multiply and also to divide. So that is the basic mathematics that we always use in our daily life. Okay, right. So quantitative analysis is part of mathematics. Okay, we use a method. Okay, we use a method to quantify. Okay, to quantify the things that you want to know. Okay, so that is quantitative analysis. We put numbers. Okay, for example, you want to know. Okay, what is your friend's perspective about you? Okay, you want to know what is your friend's perspective about you. Okay, so if you want to directly ask your friend, okay, what is their perspective, you will get some subjective ideas. Okay, so your friend will give you their own opinion. Okay, so that is qualitative. Okay, quality, something that's subjective. Okay, but in quantitative but if let's say we want to make it simpler, maybe you can ask your friend, okay, from 1 to 5, what is my maybe my beauty or my handsomeness. Okay, so you put numbers for your friend to grade. Okay, you ask your friend to put a grade on your on your appearance. Okay, from 1 to 5, for example. Okay, so the numbers that your friend give you, that is what we call as quantitative method. Okay, so we put quantitative method basically is you put the numbers on the human perspective. Okay, so and then once you get the numbers, you use the number to do analysis. Okay, you do the analysis from those numbers. Okay, so you use numbers to represent the ideas of human thoughts. Okay, so quantitative analysis can be applied to what variety of problem. Okay, so that is the basic the basic of quantitative analysis. Okay, so you can use quantitative analysis in variety of problem. Okay, for example, not enough to just know the mathematics of a technique. Okay, you must understand the specific applicability of the technique, its limitation and assumption. Okay, so if you want to apply quantitative analysis to analyze your problem or to analyze your trend, okay, you must know the method. Okay, so that is what we will cover in this subject. Okay, so we want to learn what is the method that is suitable to being used by your situation. Okay, so some method is suitable for certain situation. Some method only suitable for those situations. Okay, so you have to understand what kind of need you want to have from your analysis. Okay, what is the result that you want to have from your analysis. Okay, and then from there you can identify what is the method that you can use to analyze the situation. Okay, all right, and then successful use of quantitative technique usually result in a solution that is timely, accurate, flexible, economical, reliable, and easy to understand and use. Okay, so using numbers to represent your thoughts. Okay, it is simplified. Okay, so we use the numbers to represent our thought because it is simple to analyze. Okay, because for example, if your friend said, okay, your beauty is 4, okay, and then you said to other people, okay, my beauty is 4. Okay, people can directly, okay, people can not simultaneously, people can on the spot make their own judgment before, is it true? Okay, is it true, or maybe your friend just be nice with you. Okay, so the numbers, okay, can trigger the judgment of people, not simultaneously, but on the spot. Okay, so people can on the spot make their own judgment because it's easy to understand. Okay, and then easy to understand, easy to use. Okay, because everyone knows the numbers. Okay, so if you have scale 1 to 5, okay, people know, okay, 5 is best, 1 is low. Okay, so people, when you, okay, when they know the scale, okay, you said, okay, this product is 3. Okay, so people know, oh, then the product is just an average. Okay, because 3 is in the middle between 1 and 5, right? So the quality of the product maybe is just average. Okay, maybe the quality is not so good. Okay, so people can easily understand your thoughts. Okay, so that's why we use quantitative analysis to represent our thoughts or our ideas so that people are easy to understand. Okay, and then people are easy to make their own judgment. Okay, so that is the usefulness of quantitative analysis. Okay, all right, so example of quantitative analysis. Okay, so Bell Taco saved over $150 million using forecasting and employee scheduling quantitative analysis model. Okay, so for example, okay, Taco Bell, they use quantitative analysis, okay, to do a forecasting. Okay, when you have numbers, okay, you know the trend. Okay, you have the numbers, okay, and then you know, okay, for this year, what is the number? For previous year, for previous year, what is the number? Okay, the previous 2 years, what is the number? Okay, so once you have the numbers, you can plot it into a chart. Okay, and then from the chart, you can see the trend. Okay, either it's going up, it's going down. Okay, maybe it's a just straight line. Okay, so you can see the trend. Okay, so you can use the trend to predict what will happen next. Okay, so that is what businesses use to make their planning. They use the quantitative analysis to make prediction what will happen in the future. Okay, so Taco Bell, they use the forecasting, okay, using the quantitative analysis. Okay, and then they also use the analysis to schedule their employees. Okay, and then from there they are able to save $150 million from their cost. Okay, so you can see it's a very big cost saving technique. Okay, all right, the second example, NBC television increased revenue by over $200 million using quantitative analysis to develop better sales plan for advertisers. Okay, so another advantage of using a quantitative analysis, okay, is to increase your sale. Okay, because why? Because you can predict, you can use it to predict your customer behavior. Okay, what is their behavior? Okay, so what is the trend in the previous year? Okay, And then from the previous year's trend, then you can see, okay, what is the predicted trend that will be coming for this year. Okay, so NBC used that one. Okay, so NBC used the prediction, okay, to predict the behavior of their customer. Okay, and then they are able to increase their revenue by over $200 million per year. Okay, so you can see the usefulness of quantitative analysis. Okay, and then lastly, Continental Airlines save over $40 million every year using quantitative analysis model to quickly recover from weather delays and other disruption. Okay, so another advantage of quantitative analysis is you can use it to predict your environment. Okay, so this one they all they it is one of the daily things that happen in our life. Okay, so weather forecasting is part of quantitative analysis. Okay, because why? Because every day the weather station they will collect all the data. Okay, they will collect the temperature, they will collect the wind speed, they will collect the humidity and etc. from the environment. Okay, and then from those data, okay, they will have a big, okay, they will collect a big set of data, okay, and using that data to run a simulation. Okay, so using the simulation they can predict what will happen in the future based on the trends that they are already collected. Okay, so this kind of weather forecasting, okay, can also be used by the by the by the by the businesses, okay, especially in airlines, okay, because airline is very susceptible with the weather condition, okay, because the airplane cannot land if there is a very windy situation. Okay, very windy day, they cannot land the airplane safely. Okay, so they cannot they have to delay their plane. Okay, and then maybe it's a maybe it's a snowstorm. Okay, snowstorm also can affect the airline's operation. Okay, so the Continental Airline, they use all those data from the weather simulation, okay, weather simulation forecasting, okay, and then using their own quantity analysis model, okay, they combine it with their own model, then they are able to improve on their scheduling, okay, because they know, okay, they know in advance what is the environment that the train will have to face. Okay, so they can make the plan in advance. Okay, so this kind of method, they are able to save over $40 million every year. Okay, they can save costs on those delays. So they already know, okay, when the delay will happen. Okay, and then they can come up with alternative before it happen. Okay. Right. So that is the usefulness of quantitative analysis. Okay, so that is just some of the part of the surface lah. Okay, part of very surface quantitative analysis. Okay, their some of their application, some of their advantages and etc. Okay, but now we go down to the main subject, which is quantitative analysis. So what is quantitative analysis? Okay, so quantitative analysis is a scientific approach to manage decision making in which raw data are processed and manipulated to produce meaningful information. Okay? So, in a simple term, quantitative analysis is where you process a raw data. Okay? You process the raw data, mostly is numbers. Okay? So, you process those numbers, and then from those numbers you come up with information. Okay? For example, graph, for example, table, for example, maybe a picture. Okay, so anything that represent the information you get from the data. Okay, so the process of transforming from raw data into information, that is what we call as quantitative analysis. Okay, right. So quantitative analysis is quite similar with qualitative analysis. Okay, because both are processing the raw data into useful information. The difference is quantitative analysis, like I said before, we are dealing with numbers. Okay, we can quantify, we can calculate. Okay, so that is quantitative analysis. Different with qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis, okay, from the name, you can see it's about quality. Okay, so quality is very subjective. Okay, so you don't, okay, you in qualitative analysis, you analyze the thoughts of human. Okay, so you try to put the quality on the thoughts of human. Okay, so that is different. Quantitative analysis is very objective, where you have the numbers to calculate. You have to calculate the numbers to come up with the information. Okay? In qualitative analysis, you analyze the words. You analyze words. Okay? You analyze the words, and then you make your own judgment. Okay, based on the quality of the words. Okay, so that is the difference between quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis. Okay. Okay, so that is the basic of quantitative analysis. Okay, you transform raw data into useful information using the method, using the scientific method that we will learn later. Okay, alright. Okay, so quantitative factors are data that can be accurately calculated. Okay, so when we're talking about quantitative analysis, we will talking about the data that can be calculated. Okay, so what kind of data that can be calculated? Of course, it is numbers. Okay, so that's why when we're talking about quantitative analysis, it's always about numbers. Okay, how many sales you make? Okay, how many profit you make? Okay, how many customer you can attract? Okay, all those kind of data is numbers. Okay, different. Okay, so what is the use of the numbers? Okay, you can use the numbers to make different investment alternative. For example, okay, you can use the numbers to plan your investment. Okay, and then you can use the numbers to represent the interest rate. Okay, maybe you want to know about the interest rate of the bank or interest rate of your investment, then you can use quantitative analysis to make comparison. Okay, and then financial ratios. Okay, how many cash, what is the percentage of cash, percentage of maybe a credit card, okay, sale from credit card. Okay, and then a percentage or maybe invested by somebody. Okay, that is the financial ratios. Okay, for example, your capital. Okay, what is the percentage of your capital? Okay, maybe 50% from you as the owner. Okay, maybe, and then another 30% from your friend's investment. Okay, and then another 20% is from bank loan. Okay, so that is financial ratios. Okay, what is the percentage of your capital? Okay, all right. So that is another way you can use the quantitative data. Okay, and then calculate your cash flow and rate of return. Okay, so this one is very basic. Okay, you want to know how much cash how much cash is coming into your company, how much cash is going out from your company, okay, your cash flows. Okay, and then from there you can calculate your rate of return. Okay, for example, okay, rate of return represent the return. Okay, the percent, how many percent, okay, what is the percentage of your capital you can gain back as a profit. Okay, for example, you invest 100 ringgit, okay, and then the company can give you back 10% of 10% rate of return. It means that 10% of your capital will be returned back as okay, will be returned back as profit. It means that from 100 ringgit of investment, you will get back $10 as profit. Okay, it means that after the end of your investment, your capital will increase from 100 into 110. Okay, so that is rate of return. Okay, and then lastly, flow of materials through a supply chain. Okay, so you can also use the numbers to represent how many materials are coming into your company, how many materials are how many products are going out from your company. Okay, so all those situation needs numbers to represent the situation. Okay, so if you didn't use numbers, it's quite difficult to understand the situation. Okay, for example, why I say like that, because for example, let's say you are doing a business. Okay, and then suddenly your friend asks you, hey, how's your business, how much you make? Okay, and then your reply is, oh yeah, my business is very good lah. I got some lah. Okay, I got some lah, return back my profit lah. Okay, so it's very subjective. Your answer is very subjective. Okay, so people are hard to make judgment. But let's say if you reply is, oh, my business is very good lah, I make twice the profit from last year. Okay, you can see once you insert the numbers, people can easily visualize. Okay, so means that your profit increased by 2 times from the previous year. Okay, for example, if you, let's say your previous year your profit is 10,000 ringgit, it means that this year you already got 20,000 ringgit. See, so people can easily understand. Okay, people can easily understand your ideas. Okay, so that is the use of quantitative data. Okay, all right. So qualitative factors are more difficult to quantify but affect the decision process. Okay, so because we are dealing with quantitative data, okay, so we only care about numbers. But there is another analysis, we call it as qualitative data. So qualitative data, okay, is another type of data, okay, where you have to analyze word by word. Okay, you don't have numbers to represent your ideas. So why people analysis words to get the qualitative data? Okay, so qualitative data, yes, is more difficult to understand, but the words can be used to judge, as a judge. Okay, to confirm the qualitative data can be used to confirm the quantitative data. Okay, so you can use the qualitative data to affect the decision process. Why? Because you can use the qualitative data, for example, to not to judge, to confirm. Okay, you can use the qualitative data to confirm the validity of your quantitative data. Okay, so that is one of the use of qualitative data. Okay, so where can we use the qualitative data? We can use it on the weather. Okay, we can also use in state and federal legislation. Okay, so the law cannot be written by numbers. Okay, you can insert numbers there, but still the words in the law, okay, is more important compared to the numbers. Okay, because you want to write what is the thing that you cannot do, what is the thing that you can do. Okay, so the words there, okay, the words here in the law is more important compared to the numbers. Okay, right. So that is another place where you can use the qualitative data. Okay, and then technological breakthroughs, how you describe your technology. Okay, that is another place you can use the qualitative data, and then the outcome of election. Okay, right. So these are the difference between quantitative and qualitative data. Okay, on the just in general. Okay, all right. So quantitative and qualitative data have different roles. Okay, so we have to remember, you have quantitative data, you have qualitative data. Both can be used together. Okay, but most of the time they have their own roles lah. Okay, so you will use quantitative data in certain situation. You will also use the qualitative data in certain situation. Okay, so decision based on quantitative data can be automated. Okay, when you want to make your decision based on the quantitative data, you can automate the process. Okay, why? Because you can pass the data to other people, then they can immediately understand what is the implication of the data and how they want to make their decision. Okay, that is what we call as automated. And then another thing is you can also feed the data to the computer. Okay, so the computer will run the process. Okay, and then they can make their own decision based on the data that you feed on. Okay, so this is what we call as automation. Okay, you don't have to make your own decision anymore. You can pass it to the machine and also to other people. Okay, so they also can come up with their own decision based on the quantitative data. Okay, all right. So generally quantitative data, okay, quantitative will aid the decision making process. Okay, most of the time we use the numbers to help us to make decision. Okay, for example, you have your sales numbers. Okay, so you have the amount of sale you made this year. Okay, and then you have the amount of sale you made by previous year. Okay, then you can compare. Okay, you can compare and see. Okay, either this year's okay, your plan, your business plan for this year is good or not. Okay, and then you can make your own decision. Either you want to change or you want to improve and etc. Okay, so you use the numbers to help you to make judgment. Okay, so that's why people always use numbers, okay, to help them in making decision. Okay, so and then it is important in many areas of management. Okay, so quantitative data or the numbers is also important in many areas of management. For example, in production or operation management, because you want to know how much product you can produce, how much material you use to produce your product. Okay, what is the cost? Okay, so all these things is under operation management. Okay, and then supply chain management. You want to know how many. Okay, you want to know how many fleets you have, how many lorry or how many van you have to deliver your product. Okay, and then what is the quantity, or sorry, what is the capacity of your fleet. Okay, so you want to know that all these things is numbers. Okay, and then lastly, to do the analytics, you want to know the trends. You want to know you want to know how many customer you attract. Okay, and then what area is the best. Okay, what kind of what kind of customer you always have. Okay, so all these things you need numbers. Okay, so to do the analytic you need the numbers. Okay, so you use data. Okay, so you use quantitative analysis to make analysis about your business, to assess the performance of your business. Okay, right. Okay, so that is about quantitative analysis. Okay, so now we go a little bit about business analytics. Okay, so business analytics is one of the major area where we will apply quantitative analysis to analyze the performance of your businesses. Okay, so we will use lots of quantitative analysis method. Okay, we will use lot of quantitative analysis method to analyze. Okay, what is the level of performance for your businesses? Is your businesses okay or not for this year? Okay, how much sales you have? Okay, is it increase or decrease from previous year, or maybe from the previous quarter? Okay, so all those analysis we need quantitative analysis method. Okay, so what is business analytics? First of all, we understand what is business analytics. So business analytics is a data driven approach to decision making. Okay, so we do the analysis based on the data you collected in order to make a better decision maker. Okay, in order to make a better decision making. Okay, so you use the data from the qualitative analysis, from the quantitative analysis to assist you in making decision. Okay, so that is business analytics. Okay, so why business analytics is important? Because it's allow for better decision. Okay, when you use data to support your decision, okay, so most of the time the decision is more accurate. Okay, so you want to make an accurate decision. Okay, you want to make a better decision. Always attach your decision with the numbers. Okay, you have the proof. Okay, because once you have the proof, then you can confident, maybe 80 to 90% you can confident that your decision is the best. Okay, so you use the proof by numbers to support your decision. Okay, so that your decision is not just your instinct. Okay, you are not make decision based on your instinct or based on your experience or etc. Okay, you have proof to show that your decision is the best option. Okay, all right. And then data analytics usually we will use large amount of data, especially today. Okay, especially nowadays we have what we call as big data analytics. Okay, so big data analytics is used primarily to analyze the business performance. Okay, or sometimes we also use it to get the business insight. Okay, you want to know the trend of the market. You want to know the trend of the customer. You want to know the behavior of the customer. Okay, most of the time nowadays we use the big data technology to make the analysis of those situation. Okay, so this is one of the things that happen nowadays. Okay, so we have big data analytics. We also have what we call as I forgot the name. Machine learning. Okay, we use the machine learning to to make the simulation and etc. Okay, so when we do the business ethics, usually we will try to get as many data as possible. Why? Because we want to make our analysis as accurate as possible. Okay, all right, and then information technology is very important in business analytics. Okay, so nowadays, okay, it is important to use IT. Okay, it is important to use the IT, the information technology to gather the data, to analyze the data, okay, to represent the data, okay, and then lastly to visualize the data. Okay, you can use the IT, the technology, okay, the IT technologies, okay. You can use the IT technology to visualize. Okay, nowadays we not only put it in the chart. Okay, we can also use the I forgot the name. Okay, it's like a mind map. Okay, you can also use it to represent a link between several keywords. Okay, to make a link. Okay, you they are more than just a graph to represent your data. Okay, so you use the IT technology to gather the data, to analyze the data, and then to represent data and visualize your data. Okay, so it is very important to use IT nowadays to do the quantitative analysis and business analytics. Okay, then statistical and qualitative analysis are used to analyze data and provide useful information. Okay, so we use quantitative analysis, and also at the same time we use the statistical method to assist us to provide a better information about the business. Okay, so that is how we do the business analytics. Okay, so under business analytics we have here we have a 3 domain. First is descriptive analysis. How you describe, okay, how you describe the trend, how you describe the performance of your businesses, how you describe the behavior of your customer. That is what we call as descriptive. We describe the situation based on based on the previous data. So the data that we collected, okay, we compile it, okay, we process it, and then we represent it to see the trend. Okay? So the trend that we see from this kind of analysis, this is what we call as descriptive, because it describes the trend that already happened. Okay, it describes the things that already happened. Okay, so that is descriptive analysis. We describe or we represent things that already happened in the world. Okay, all right. So that is descriptive analysis, and then we have what we call as predictive analysis. So predictive analysis is the next step of business analytics. Okay, so first we start with prediction. We start with description. We describe the situation. We want to know the trend. We want to know the situation. We want to know how big the situation is, and etc. Okay, and then we come up with prediction. Okay, so from the data that we already collected, we try to predict the future trend. We try to predict how big the number can grow. We try to predict what is the rate of growth for the situation. Okay, so that is what we call as predictive. We try to forecast. Okay, so this is the next step of business analytics. First, we describe first, and then we start to make assumption and try to predict the future. Okay, right. So that is the second step in business analytics. And then lastly is prescriptive analysis. Okay, so what is prescriptive analysis? So now we already know what will happen. Okay, so after we know what will happen, what is our plan to cater with the prediction? Okay, so what is our plan to meet with the future prediction? Okay, so we already predict what will happen. So now what are the things that we need to do? Okay, so that is what we call as prescriptive analytics. Okay, so we use the data. Okay, we use the quantitative analysis data. We use it to come up with a better solution. How to counter with the things that we already predicted. Okay, so we predicted, for example, we predict that next year the economy will going down. Okay? Because of the data, we predict that next year the economy will become worse. Okay, so what is the step that we need to take? Okay, so we use the data, we use the numbers and etc. We try to come up with the ways how to overcome this problem, how to overcome the impact of economy to our company. Okay, so that is prescriptive analysis. We make the plan. Okay, we make the plan based on the data. Okay, so these are the three main domain in business analytics. Okay, so first we describe the situation, and then we try to predict the future. We try to predict the future. Okay, and then after we predict the future, we make plan how to overcome the future. Okay, right? Okay, so this table shows you what kind of technique you can use in every analytic every business analytic category or domain. Okay, so for descriptive analysis, okay, you can use statistical measures such as mean and standard deviation. Okay, and then we can also use statistical quality control technique. Okay, and then under predictive analysis, we have the decision analysis and decision tree, regression model, forecasting, project scheduling, reactive line model, simulation, and Markov analysis. Okay, so these are the techniques that can be used in predictive analysis. Okay, and then lastly, prescriptive. Okay, we can use techniques such as inventory model, okay, and then linear programming, transportation and assignment model, integer programming, role programming, and non-linear programming, and lastly, network models. Okay, so these are some of the techniques that we can apply in those categories. Okay, so like I said before, we have to use different technique for different situation. Okay, so here you can see different domain, okay, of business analysis will use different technique of quantitative analysis. Okay, right? So we can see here in descriptive analysis, the technique is different. Predictive analysis, the technique is different. Okay, and then in prescriptive analysis, the technique is different. Okay, right. So this is just an overview. Okay, this is just an overview. Okay, so that is why this quantitative analysis is important. Okay, because it is needed in how to make your business better. Okay, so we use the quantitative analysis to make our business better. Okay, and to make a better decision for our business. Okay. All right. So these are the approach. Okay. So what? Okay. This is the process. How you want to design your quantitative analysis. Okay. So we start our quantitative analysis with defining the problem. Okay. So before you collect the data, you must know what kind of situation you want. Okay. For example, if you let's say you want to know, okay, the trend of durian lovers in Malaysia. Okay, so it is not suitable, okay, to collect data about tea drinking, the coffee lover. Okay, so for example, okay, you want to know about a durian lover, okay, but you collect the data about coffee lover. Okay, so it's wrong. Okay? So you first of all, before you collect the data, you must know what kind of problem or what kind of situation you want to know. Okay, so you must choose. Okay, sorry, not choose. You must know what kind of data you want to collect for your analysis. Okay, so the data must be correctly collected. Okay, so you cannot collect the wrong data. Okay, right, so you must know. Okay, so to collect the correct data, you must know what is the situation you want to know about. Okay, so that is the first step, defining the problem. Okay, and then developing a model. Okay, so once you know the problem, so you can try to choose the model that's suitable for your situation. Okay, so we have multiple type of model in quantitative analysis. You can choose one that suit for your situation. Okay, and then acquiring input data. So once you already develop the model, okay, then you can start to collect data. Okay, so you collect the data. Okay, so after collect data, you develop a solution. Okay, so after you collect the data, okay, you come up with the analysis. Okay, and then from the analysis you get the solution. Okay, so you develop the solution, what kind of solution to solve the problem. Okay, and then after that, after you get the solution, you test the solution. Okay, you try to implement the solution to see either it will solve your problem or not. Okay, so if your solution does not solve the problem, then you have to come up back with the model. Okay, you have to check back your model. Either your model is maybe your model is not suitable, or maybe your model is wrong. Okay, you have to check back your model. Okay, right. But if your solution is successful, then you analyze the result. Means that you check back. Okay, you gather the data from your environment to check. Okay, maybe maybe you want to know the effectiveness of your solution. Okay, so if your solution is not too effective, yeah, it solve the problem, but maybe just a few percent of the problem. Okay, maybe the solution not the solution not solving all the problem. Okay, So you have to come back to the model. You have to check back your model. Okay, your model maybe not is wrong, or maybe you use model that not suitable. You have to check back. Okay, and then okay, but if based on your analysis, your result is very good, then you implement the result. Okay, so these are the process of quantitative analysis. Okay, you starting with understand your problem, develop the model, okay, then you gather the data, develop the solution to solve the problem, okay, and then you test the problem, you test your solution, okay. If fail, then you have to come back with you have to check back your model. If successful, then you have to analyze your result. Okay, you have to analyze the result from your solution. Okay, so if the result is very good, then you can implement the result. Okay, if not, then you have to come back to your model to check back what is wrong with your model. Okay. All right, so these are the general approach, okay, for quantitative analysis. How you want to design your quantitative analysis. Okay. All right. So we go one by one. Okay. So first of all, defining the problem. So in defining the problem, you have to develop a clear and concise statement of the problem to provide direction and meaning. Okay. So this may be the most important and difficult step. Okay. So when defining your problem, you must try to be as detailed as possible so that you can clearly understand the problem that you are facing. Okay. The problem with most people is you are not clearly defining your problem. Okay, it means that you are not really understand what kind of problem you are facing. For example, okay, for example, you have stomach ache. Okay, for example, after you eating, you have stomach ache. Okay, your stomach ache can happen maybe because you have gastric, maybe because you eat too spicy food, maybe because you eat too much food, okay, maybe because you eat late, so that there is the acid reflux. Okay, so they have so many reasons for the problem. Okay, so if you cannot understand your problem clearly, then the doctor cannot give you the best medicine. Okay, similar in this situation. If you did not understand clearly what is your problem, then when you develop the solution may be not suitable for your problem. Okay, you thought that it is because of maybe you thought, okay, your problem is like this, but actually in reality the problem is like that. Okay, so once you develop solution for your problem, okay, it maybe not work. Okay, it maybe will not work. Why? Because it will not solve the problem, because now the reason for the problem is very different. Okay, so that's why it's important to really understand the problem and really clearly define the problem, okay, in detail. Okay, that's why here they said this may be the most important and difficult step. Okay, it's not easy to really understand the problem, okay, but it is important. It's a very important part to understand your problem clearly. Okay, and then the second one, go beyond symptom and identify true causes. So again, okay, similar like my example, okay, your stomach ache is just the symptom. The reason is you have to understand the reason why you have your stomach ache. Okay, maybe gastric, maybe food poisoning, maybe whatever it is. Okay, so there are so many causes that give the same symptom. Okay, means that you have stomach ache. Okay, but the reason for stomach ache is many. It's too many. Okay, so which one is the reason why you have stomach ache? You have to understand. Okay, you have to identify it. Okay, so that's why here they said go beyond system and identify true causes. Okay, so don't just go for stomachache. Go for the reason why it happened. Okay, and then concentrate on only a few of the problem. Selecting the right problem is very important. Okay, so for this one, okay, try to solve one problem at a time. Okay, you cannot try to maybe, for example, your problem is your sale is dropped. For example, your sales is dropped. Okay, so you have to identify what is the cause. Maybe you after you identify, okay, you really try to understand the problem. You identify that there are 5 reasons, okay, that cause your sale to drop. Okay, so using the statement here, the third statement, try to focus on one problem only at a time. Okay, so you already know there are 5 reasons why your sale is dropped. Okay, you choose one that is most is a very big impact. Okay, you choose one that give very big impact to your sale. You choose one only. Why? Because you want to focus on one at a time. Okay, you want to focus one at a time first. Okay, because your solution, okay, sometimes the solution that you develop, maybe it will give impact to other reason. Okay, but if you choose more than one, okay, you have to divide your concentration. Okay, so now instead of solving one problem only, so you have to solve 2 problems at a time. Yes, it is time efficient, because you can solve more problem you can solve more problem at one time, but the problem is the problem is you will split your concentration. Okay, so instead of focusing on one thing, now you have to focus on 2 things. Okay, so and then we human being, we are not good at dividing our focus. Okay, so it is best to focus only on one thing. Okay, so you choose the best, okay, the most critical problem for your the most critical factors for your problem, then try to solve it first. Okay, and then if it is not enough, then go for the next factors. Okay, so when defining the problem, you must clearly pick one, the most important part of your problem. Okay, and then specific and measurable objective may have to be developed. Okay, so once you already understand your problem clearly and in detail, okay, you can develop the objective. Okay, what is the use of the objective? To clearly and specifically state the outcome that can be the outcome from the problem solving process. Okay, then the goal. Okay, after you clearly understand your problem, set the goal after the problem solving process ended. Okay, so you can use the goal to measure the impact of your you can use the goal to measure the result of your solution. Okay, so that is the use of objective here. Okay, use the objective to measure your solution. Either your solution is good enough, or it is not giving enough impact to solve the problem. Okay, so you can develop the objective to help you on assessing your solution. All right. Okay, and then that is the first part where you want to know about the problem. Okay, and then the second part, developing a model. Okay, so model are realistic, solvable, and understandable mathematical representation of the situation. Okay, so once you know the problem, now you have to come up with the mathematical model. Okay, so the mathematical model, most of the time, we are not developing it by ourselves. Okay, maybe we can pass it to the statistician, or maybe we can use the software to help us to develop the model, okay, or etc. Okay, so most of the time we are not developing the model by ourselves. Okay, we get assistance from the software, or we can get assistance from the statistician, or we can get assistance from the data big data engineer or data scientist. Okay, so they are the expert in developing the mathematical model to represent our problem. Okay, so but the most important part is the model that that being developed for to represent the problem must be realistically represent the problem. Okay, so you must understand. You must, after the model is developed, you must sit down with the expert and listen to them how the model is representing the problem. Okay, so the model must be realistically represent the problem. Okay, so that once you develop a solution, it will really helps you to solve the problem. Okay, so that is on the second step, developing the model. Okay, so there are different type of models. The first model is a physical model. Okay, second one is a scale model. Okay, and then we have the schematic model. Okay, so these are the type of model that can be used to represent the problem. Okay, and then this model we will convert it into the mathematical model. Okay, all right. So mathematical model are a set of mathematical relationship or mathematical equation. Okay, so the mathematician will use the mathematical equation to to represent the problem. Okay, so the problem can be represented using the mathematical model. Okay, so this one is not our area of expertise lah. Okay, so this one is more on the statistician and also the mathematician area of expertise. Okay, so models generally contain variables and parameters. Okay, so when the mathematician they develop the models, they will put all those parameters and also variables. Okay, so parameters is a fixed number in the equation, while the variables usually is represented by the alphabet X, Y, Z, alpha, A, B, G. Okay, so that is what we call as variables. So variables, okay, will be changing, can be changing. Okay, and some variables you want to know the value. Okay, so that is what we call as variables. So variable is some numbers. Okay, is a things that changing in the equation. Okay, so parameters is a fixed value, while the variable is variable value. This like the value will be changing. Okay, all right, and then variable we have what we call as a controllable variable and decision variable that are generally unknown. Okay, so controllable variables. Okay, okay, we have here is two variable. First is controllable variables is that variable that we set the value. Okay, so that is controllable variable. The variable that we control the value, we put the value of the parameters. Sorry, we put the value of the variable. Okay, and then we try to solve for the decision variable. Okay, so this is the variable that we want to find the value. Okay, so decision variable is the variable that we don't have the value. We want to know the value of this variable. Okay, so that is decision variable. Okay, so these are the two type of variable that will be used in the model. Okay, so for example, how many items should be ordered for inventory? So these are example. Okay, so decision variable is the number of items to be ordered. Okay, right. So parameters are known quantity that are part of the model. Okay, like I said before, so parameters is the fixed value. You already know the values. Okay, so we already know the value. For example, what is the cost of placing an order? Okay, so required input data must be available. Okay, to solve the model, we need to gather the data. So that is where we gather the data and use the data to run the model. Okay, to run the model, and from the data we can get the value of decision variable. We want to the output of the mathematical model is to get the value of decision model. Decision variable. We want to know the value of decision variable. Okay, right, and then okay, after we develop the model, now we have to gather the input data. So why we need the input data? Okay, because the data will be injected into the model so that we run the model and then we will get the decision variable value. So that is the reason of gathering the data. Okay, we need the data so that we can get the output. Okay, so the data is essential in running the model. Okay, without the data, then we cannot run the model. Okay, so the model will be run using the input data, and then after the model is run, then we will get the output data. Okay, so we want to get the output data. So that is the data that we want, that we need to have. Okay, but in acquiring data, we have to remember one rule: garbage in, garbage out. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that the input data must be as accurate as possible so that we will get the output data that as accurate as possible. We want to get the accurate output data, then we have to input accurate input data. Okay, so anything that you input into the model will give you the result that you uh you you will have. Okay, so anything you put into the model will give you the output. Either the output is good or not will be depending on your input data. If your input data is good, then the percentage of good output data is very high. But if your input data is not good, then your output data will also with your output data also will not good. Okay, if you use fake data as input, then you also will get fake data as output. That's all. Garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage in, then you will get garbage out. You will not get diamond out of garbage. You cannot get. Okay, so that is the rule. Okay, so your input data must be as accurate as possible. Okay, so the data may come from variety of sources. Okay, so there are multiple sources of data you can gather. For example, from your company records, documents, employee interview, direct measurement, or statistical sampling. Okay, so there are lots of channel you can get your data. Okay, and then after you get the data, then you developing a solution. Okay, all right. So what is developing a solution? Developing a solution means you run the model to get the solution. Okay, you run the model to get the output. Okay, so that is developing a solution. Okay, so after you gather your input data, then you put it into the model. Okay, and then the model will start to process your data. Okay, and then at last they will give you the output. Okay, so your output is what we call as the solution. So that is the solution. Okay, so developing a solution is mean manipulating the model to arrive at the best optimal solution. Okay, so what is okay? There are several some of the common technique used to develop a solution. For example, solving equation, trial and error, complete enumeration, and lastly using algorithm or a series of repeating steps to reach a solution. Okay, so there are several ways where you can get your output. Either you can use try and error, okay, or you can solve your model, your mathematical modeling. Okay, you can solve it. Okay, you gather your input and then you solve the problem. You solve the equation. You solve your model using your data, your input data. Okay, and then you can use also trial and error. Just put a random number into your model to get some output, and then you make a judgment based on which one is the best. Okay, and then you can also use complete enumeration, trying all possible values. Okay, and then you can also use an algorithm or a step to get to the correct solution. For example, maybe you already encounter the problem. Okay, you encounter the problem frequently. You already have your standard operating procedure, your SOP. Okay, so you using the SOP, okay, maybe can help you to get to the solution much faster. Okay, right. So that is the first step, developing the solution. Okay, and then the step now. Okay, and then step number 5, testing the solution. So after you get your output data, okay, you must test both the input data and the model and also the output data for accuracy and completeness before analysis and implementation. Okay, so you must test the solution. Okay, you must test the output, your output data. Okay, you must test for the accuracy. Is the output is accurate or not? Okay, so how to prove that your output data is accurate or not? You must test your input data and also your model. Okay, you must know. Okay, you must be able to say that the data is accurate, and then you must also be able to say that your model is accurate. So that is testing the solution. You must test both input and model, okay, to check their accuracy, either they are accurate or not. Okay, so to test the accuracy, you can gather new data to test the model. You can gather new data to test the model. Is that you can try to input a set of data, okay, a set of data to check if they can get if they can give you a predicted if your model can give you predict output as predicted as or not. Okay, so you can fit a set of sample data. Okay, so you can use your sample data to measure the accuracy of your model. Okay, so result from your model must be logical, consistent, and representing the real situation of the problem. Okay, and then so that is testing the solution, and then analyze the result. Determine the implication of the solution. Okay, so after you get the output, okay, so you must know what is the impact of the output. Okay, what is the impact of your output data if you implement the output data. Okay, so that is analyzing the result. You analyze the implication of your output from the model. Okay, so you have to determine the implication of the solution. Okay, so implementing result often requires change in organization. The impact of action or changes needs to be studied and understood before implementation. Okay, so you have to understand effect the effect of your solution. Okay, so when you have a solution, most of the time it will disrupt the status quo of your company. It means that it will give some changes to your company. Okay, so you have to understand what kind of changes that you will be facing when you want to implement the solution. Either the effect is big or not, either the effect is severe or mild. Okay, so you have to understand. Okay, so you have to understand the impact of your solution. Okay, So and then you have to understand the impact of your solution before you implement the solution. Why? Because you you want to take a precaution measure. Okay? For example, your solution will change the structure of your company. Okay, so you must take a considerable step. Okay, to for these changes. Okay, maybe some of the management must change, or some of the management will be sacked. Okay, so you have to understand. You must be ready for the implication. Okay, all right. So to understand the impact of your solution to your company, we can use what we call as sensitivity analysis. Okay. So sensitivity analysis determine how much the result will change if the model or input data changes. Okay. All right. So for example, maybe because your solution will give us a greater impact to your company, and it is not a good thing. Okay, so maybe you want to change your model a little bit, okay, so that the impact will be lesser. Okay, so we can use the sensitivity analysis to to study, okay, to study how much the result will change if the model or input data changes. Okay, what if we do some changes to our data or to our model? Okay, how much the changes from the previous result, from the previous result. Okay, so that is what we call as sensitivity analysis. Okay, so sensitivity model should be very thoroughly tested. Okay, so you must test your model for the sensitivity, because we want to check the effect of data, okay, or the effect of the model itself to the result of the solution. Okay, all right. So after you do all those things, okay, you do the analysis, you do the sensitivity analysis, and etc. Then you implement the result. If you find out that the solution is good, okay, and then the impact of the solution, okay, is giving a positive feedback to your organization, then the last step is to implement the result. Okay, so implementation incorporate the solution into, okay, implementation incorporates the solution into the company. It means that you implement the result, the solution to your company. Okay, so implementation can be very difficult. Okay, people may be resistant to changes. Many quantitative analysis efforts have failed because a good workable solution was not properly implemented. Okay, so even though you do a good job in analysis and make your business analysis, okay, you come up with a very good solution. You come up with a very, okay, and then from the solution will give a very positive impact to your company. Okay, most of the time, okay, sometimes, okay, you will fail to implement. You will fail to implement the solution. Why? Because not everyone is ready for changes. Okay, so some people, they don't like changes. Okay, they like whatever they already doing now. Okay, and they don't like the status quo to be changed. Okay, so you have to remember that even though you have a very good solution, if people cannot accept it, okay, it's still a fail. So this one is one of the problem when you want to implement the changes in your when you want to implement changes in your company. Okay, changes occur over time, so even successful implementation must be monitored to determine if modifications are necessary. So once you implement your solution, sometimes other problem arise. Okay? So you have to adapt your solution to the new situation. Okay? So you have to make some amendment or modification to your solution. Okay. Okay. So modeling in the real world. Quantitative analysis model are used extensively by real organizations to solve real problems. In real world, quantitative analysis model can be complex, expensive, and difficult to sell. Following the step in the process is an important component of success. Okay, so like I said before, when we want to implement the quantitative analysis, when we want to use the quantitative analysis method to analyze our problem, we have to to we have to make sure that our model is as accurate as possible to the real world. Okay, but in reality, the model, the model that represent the real problem is very complex and difficult to be solved. Okay, because it will involve lots of parameters, lots of changes. Okay, so there are too many variables you must consider. Okay, when you want to go for a real, when you want to go for a real mathematical model representation. Okay, so most of the time, people will try to simplify the model so that it is easier to solve. Okay, but at the same time, still represent maybe 70 to 80% of the real world problem. Okay, so how to develop a quantitative analysis model? Okay, so here is an example. Okay, so here is a mathematical model of profit. For example, here we want to develop a model for to calculate the profit. For example, here we can use this mathematical equation. So profit is equal to your revenue minus your expenses. Okay, right. So these are the basic model. These are the basic mathematical equation. Okay, and then revenue and expenses can be expressed in different ways. Okay, all right. So now these are the basic. Okay, so these are the basic. Profit is equal to revenue minus expenses. So this is basic. Now we now we want to use the equation to represent the real world problem, right? So now we have to consider other things. Okay, so now expenses is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. Okay, right. So you can see here now the expenses now we have to split it into two terms: fixed cost and variable cost. Okay, revenue we still maintain it. Okay, so now we split the revenue. So revenue is equal to selling price multiplied by the number of units sold. Okay, and then now variable cost. Okay, we can split it into variable cost per unit multiplied by the number of units sold. Okay, so now we can see the equation become more complex and more complex. Okay, and then lastly, we use some alphabet to represent our equation. Okay, so now we put here selling price as S. Okay, so selling price per unit is S. Okay, number of units sold is X. Okay, and then fixed cost is F. Variable cost per unit is V. Okay, and then number of units sold is X. Okay, so now we get profit is equal to SX minus in bracket F plus VX. And now we can open the bracket. So now profit is equal to SX minus F minus VX. Okay, so this is one of the mathematical model. So profit is equal to SX minus F minus VX. Okay, so this is one of the mathematical model that we can use to solve for profit to get the number from the business. Okay. This one is this one. So this one is the is the mathematical model. Okay. So the parameter of this model are F, V, and S, as these are the input inherent in the model. The decision maker, the decision variable of interest is F. Okay. Right. It means that F, S, and V can be set up by you. Okay. So you set up the value of S, V, and F. Then you want to know the value of F. You want to solve for the F. Okay. You want to know how many units you must sold to get profit. Okay. Okay. We still have a little bit of time. Okay, so let's we finish a little bit more. Okay. And then so that is how we develop a model for quantitative analysis. Okay. All right. So these are example. Okay. So purchase precious time pieces. Okay. So company buy, sell, and repair or clock. Okay. Rebuild spring, sell for $8 per unit. Fixed cost of equipment to build spring is 1,000 unit. Variable cost for spring material is $3 per unit. Okay. So these are on how you want to solve for the x. Okay. You want to get the value of x, right? Okay. So now these are the parameters. Okay. So the selling price is $8. So S is 8. Okay. And then fixed cost is 1,000 ringgit. So F is 1,000 ringgit. Okay. And then the variable cost for the product is $3. So V is equal to 3. Okay. So now what you don't know is the value of X. Okay. So now you replace all the value into the equation. So profit is equal to 8x minus 1,000 minus 3x. Okay. So how to solve the value of x? Okay. Here is the starting of the solution. So if sale is equal to 0, profit is equal to minus f. Okay, because now x is 0, right? Sale is 0. So here is 0. Automatically this one is 0. So 0. So 8 times 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. So we left with $1,000 minus $1,000. Okay. So if you cannot okay, if your sale is 0, okay, means that you didn't sell anything, then you will have a loss of $1,000. Okay. You will lose your money. Okay, because you have to pay for the equipment first, right? So you have to buy the equipment, but you didn't sell anything, then you will incur losses into your businesses. Okay, you will lose $1,000 of capital from buying the equipment. Okay, and then if you are able to make sale of $1,000 unit, then the profit for your your profit will be 8 multiplied by 1,000 minus 1,000 minus 3 multiplied by 1,000 ringgit, and your profit is 4,000 ringgit. Okay. It means that if you can sell 1,000 unit of spring, you can get 4,000 ringgit of profit. Okay, so you can already cover it for your capital to buy the equipment. Okay, so that is how you check. Okay, this is how you calculate your profit. Okay, so if you sell, okay, if you didn't if you are not making any sale, okay, you will lose 1,000 ringgit of your money. Okay, but if you are able to sell 1,000 unit of spring, you can make $4,000 of profit from your business. Okay, and then company are often interested in break even point. Okay, So the break-even point is the number of units sold that will result in $0 profit. Okay. So what is break-even? So break-even is the value where you already recover your fixed costs, but you are not making any profit yet. Okay, is that your sale is only to cover your fixed costs. Okay, so that is what we call as break-even point, to recover all your expenses only and not making any profit yet. Okay, so how to represent this one? Okay, you can use this equation. So 0 is equal to Sx minus F minus Vx. Okay, because now the profit is 0, right? So you just put the value of profit here into 0. Okay, so 0 is equal to Sx minus F minus Vx. Okay, and then you can rearrange this. This equation, and it will become 0 is equal to, in bracket, S minus V multiplied by X minus F. Okay, and then you can rearrange the equation that it will become F equal to S minus V multiplied by X. Okay, now you want to know the value of X, right? So X is equal to F divided by S minus V. Okay, right? So now you replace the value of S and V there. So it is S, F, and V. So now your break-even point is $1,000 divided by 8 minus $3. Then you will get 200 units. Okay. So what does this number represent? Okay. This number will represent your borderline. If your sales is below 200 units, you will make loss. Okay? You will make a loss for your business. But if you can sell more than 200 units, okay, you can sell more than 200 units, you will start to make profit. Okay, so that is the meaning of 200 units here. Okay, sale of less than 200 units of reduced Spain will result in a loss. Okay, so if you are unable to sell more than 200 units, then you will make a loss for your company. Okay, but if you can sell more than 200 units, then you can start to see your profit. Okay, so this is how you determine this is one of the techniques to, to make your business analysis. Okay, so now you already know. Okay, because of your fixed cost and also your variable cost, it is important for you to sell at least 200 units of spring, so that you can recover all your costs and start to make your profit. Okay, right. So so what are the advantages of mathematical modeling? Why people use mathematical modeling to represent their problem? Okay, so model can be accurately represent reality. Okay, so you can use mathematical problem to accurately represent the real problem in the real world. Okay, and then model can help a decision maker to formulate problem. Okay, so model can give us insight and information. Okay, so we can use the model to understand the problem. Okay, based on the parameter and etc. We can directly understand the problem. If you know about if you clearly understand the question, then the model itself can give you some information about the problem. Okay, model can save time and money in decision making and problem solving. Okay, model may be the only way to solve large or complex problem in timely fashion. Okay, so if you have a very complex problem, okay, right, and then lots of parameters and variables, okay, to being solved, okay, you can use the mathematical expression. So because you can run it through the machine. Okay, so machine can process the data much faster compared to human. Then you can cut time on solving the problem. Okay. Oops, sorry. And then lastly, model can be used to communicate problem and solution to others. Okay, so you can also use the model to to tell people about your problem. Okay, so for those people who are understand the mathematics, okay, they can sometimes they can pick up the information from the model, right? Okay, so there are two category. Okay, there are two category of model. Okay, so the model, okay, the category of mathematical model. Okay, the mathematical model, they are categorized by the level of risk for each model. So mathematical models that do not involve risk or chances are what we call as deterministic model. Okay, so in deterministic model, all the value used in the model are known with complete certainty. Okay, so in deterministic model means that all the input data you put in the model is 100% unchanging. Means that the value is 100% certain. You are certain with 100% accuracy that this is the correct value. That is what we call as deterministic model. Okay, and then but if let's say you collect all the data, okay, and then after you collect data, you are not really 100% sure that this data is correct or not. Maybe you 80% sure that this data is correct. Okay, so once you have this kind of data, okay, then automatically your model will become a probabilistic model. Okay? The value used in the model are estimate based on probabilities. Okay, because you're only 80% sure that the data is correct. Okay, another 20% maybe the data is incorrect. Okay, so in this situation, your model will become, you have to modify the model. Okay, you have to include the probabilistic terms in the model. Now it will change into probabilistic model. Okay. All right. So I think let's we take now is okay. I think let's we take 5 minute breaks before I continue a little bit. Okay, I think we will stop around 4:20. Is it okay for everyone, guys? Hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Can, sir.
All right. So we will stop at 4:20. So now I give you a little break, okay, 5 minutes. Then we continue until 4:20, and then we end the class. Okay.
Okay, sir, no problem.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, guys, let's continue our lesson. Okay, just a little bit more before we finish this one. Okay, so let's continue our lesson. Okay, so that is the okay. So we already learned about the category of mathematical model. Okay, either you can be a deterministic where the value is 100% sure or certain is correct. Okay, and then we have what we call as a probabilistic model where the value is not 100% sure. Okay, so you have to add on probability terms in the equation. Okay, all right, and then okay, so this is the example how you do, okay, how you can use, okay, uh, Excel. Okay, so how you can use Excel to to do a quantitative analysis. Okay, so you have to install what we call as a QM for Windows. Okay, quantitative method. Okay, so we have to install a quantitative method software into the Windows. Okay, so QM is an easy to use decision support system for use in QM and QM process. Okay, so we can use this one in our class. Okay, to learn about how to use technology to do quantitative analysis. Okay, all right. So this is the main menu of the quantitative method. Okay, so you can try. Okay, you can try to find the the add-on. Okay, so it's a plug-in to the Microsoft Excel. Okay, so later I will try to find the links. Okay, so I will share with you the link. Okay, and then we can you can download it. Okay, and then install in your computer so that we can try to use the software. Okay, for you for our lesson. Okay, all right. So this one is okay. So this one is a is the representation how the software looks like. Okay, so this one here is used to solve the problem that we see there, precious time pieces. Okay, this example. Okay, so we can simulate this example using Microsoft Excel. Okay, and this is okay. So we can simulate this one. Okay, so we can simulate this one. Okay, to using Excel, Microsoft Excel. Okay, all right. So later we will try. Okay, we will try to do it together lah. I will prepare maybe some module on this one lah. Okay, right. So this is how the software looks like in Excel. Okay, so we can enter the data here and then click solve the problem. Okay, and then we can also this one is another picture showing the function of the software. Okay, additional in output is available from the window menu. Okay, so here you see graph of break-even analysis. So we can use, okay, instead of a table like this, we can use a graph. Okay, we can also generate graph from the software to help us to visualize the mathematical model. Okay, all right. Okay, so this one is another picture to show you how to use the Excel 2M software add-on. Okay, right. Data here, okay, and then go sit in the break even. Okay, so later I will try to incorporate this one into our lesson. We can try to maybe we can try one classes to try to use the Excel to let you know how to do it. Okay, all right. Okay, so that is some of overview how to use the software to do quantitative analysis method. Okay, all right. So even though the quantitative analysis method has many advantages, okay, to being used to analyze the businesses, okay, but they have some problems. Okay, so anything in the world you will facing with their advantages. Okay, anything in the world they have their own advantages and they have also their own weaknesses or problem. Okay, so what are the problems in quantitative analysis method? First, okay, so first defining the problem. So problem may not be easily identified. Okay, so this is one of the problem. So some problem is not very easy for you to really understand the main cause of the problem. Okay, maybe you can see the symptom. Okay, maybe you can see the symptom of the problem, but in reality, it's very difficult to pinpoint what exactly causing the problem. Okay, so it's not really easy to identify the problem. Okay, and then conflicting viewpoints. Okay, if you have a team, okay, maybe some people they are not agreeing with each other, so it's not easy to find agreement between the team members. Okay, and then impact on other departments, beginning assumption. Okay, you just make assumption. Okay, it's not based on the real data. Okay, and then your solution is outdated. This is one of some of the common problem. Okay, in defining your problem, and then in developing a model. Okay, how to fit the textbook model. Okay, so if you are using a textbook model or a basic model that stated in the textbook, okay, most of the time the model in the textbook cannot be used to fit into the real problem. Why? Because there are lots of other variables and parameters you must put in to really represent the real situation. Okay, so you have to make modification to the textbook model. Okay, so in order to do that, you must have the knowledge how to modify the model. Okay, but most of the time, okay, for the management side, most of the time they don't have the knowledge. Okay, so this become something that blocks them to in developing the model. Okay, and then second one, how to understand the model. Okay, if you don't have any mathematical background, okay, you are not a statistical or mathematician, sometimes it is hard to understand the model. Okay, and then okay, and then the next problem is accurate input data. Okay, so how to accurately get the correct input data. Okay, so when using the accounting data, how you to ensure that the data is correct. Okay, and then how you want to validate the data, either the data is correct or not. Okay, and then developing a solution, hard to understand mathematics. Okay, so when you run the simulation, okay, when you run the mathematical models, okay, to find the output, okay, the output is just number, but how you want to convert the numbers into solution, that is another step, and that is another skills for you to have. Okay, so sometimes it is hard to convert from those numbers into a proper solution. Okay, so you need to have the skills to to interpret the numbers into a solution. Okay, and then only one answer is limiting. Okay, so sometimes the way to solve the problem is more than one. Okay, so you can have multiple techniques to solve the problem, but using the quantitative analysis, you will only come up with only one solution based on your model. Okay, so when you using quantitative analysis, you are actually limiting yourself to only one approach. Okay, actually you can, maybe some of the problem you can try another approach to see what are the effect of approach. Okay, but using the quantitative analysis, you cannot do that, because if you only based on the result from the quantitative analysis, you will only get one solution. Okay, and then testing the solution is not always intuitively obvious. Okay, all right, so this is also a problem. And then analyzing the result, how will it affect the total organization? Okay, so when you want to analyze the impact of your solution to your organization, sometimes it's hard. Okay, why? Because yeah, maybe you can recognize some of the impact, okay, but you cannot recognize all the impacts to your organization. Okay, so the best way for quantitative analysis is you are able to analyze. Okay, sorry, you are able to identify all the effect to your organization based on the solution. But sometimes because we as a human being, sometimes our knowledge is limited, we can only identify some of it. Okay, so it will affect the the process in quantitative analysis method. All right. Okay, so these are some of the possible problem that can arise in quantitative when you are using quantitative analysis method to help you in making decision in the business. Okay, all right. Okay, so that is the problem, and then we also have another problem, okay, in implementation. Okay, so if you still remember, the last step of quantitative analysis is where you implement your solution. Okay, so in the implementation stage also, you will facing with lots of problem. Okay, so implementation step is not just the final step. Okay, so once you implement your result, it's not the ending of your journey. Okay, you will have to assess your result. Okay, you have to make some adjustment to your solution so that to fit your current situation and etc. Okay, so implementation step is not the final step in the quantitative analysis method. Okay, so what kind of problem you might facing in the implementation step? First is lack of commitment and resistance to change. Okay, so these are one of the major problem. Okay, so like I said before, human, okay, people as a human being is we as a human being, we are really resist to changes. We don't like changes. Okay, that is the common nature of human. Okay, human don't like changes. Okay, you can only push yourself to accept the changes if you want to. Okay, so it's not easy for you to convince people to change. Okay, based on whatever reason. Okay, so the most common problem you will be facing when you want to implement your solution is where you will have resistance from other people when you want to do some changes to your organization. Okay, okay, once they are once they are resisting the changes, then they will not having any commitment to help you to implement the changes. Okay, so fear formal analysis procedure fear formal analysis processes will reduce management decision making power. Okay, so this is one of the things. So, some of the top management, they are fearing that when you implement the solution, it will reduce their power. So this is one of the reason lah. Okay, so and then fear previous intuitive decision exposed as inadequate. Okay, so this is another thing. Okay, so some of the manager, they fear that if you implement your solution, it will expose their lack of capabilities. Okay, they will it will expose their their weaknesses in making decision. Okay, right, and then uncomfortable with new thinking patterns. Okay, action oriented manager may want quick and dirty techniques. Okay, so this is another problem. Some manager, they don't like the a very scientific and systematic approach. Okay, they like to do what they already do. Okay, it's like their rule of thumb. Okay, they like to do based on their rule of thumb. Okay, so some people they are like that. They are very action oriented person. They don't like to do all the analysis and etc. Okay, they want to try to implement whatever they have in their hand. Okay, so you will also face with this kind of people when you want to implement your solution. Okay, and then management support and user involvement are important. Okay, and then lack of commitment by quantitative analysis. Lack of commitment by quantitative analysis. Okay, so you also maybe sometimes you also will facing this problem with the analyst. Okay, so analyst should be involved with the problem and care about the solution. Okay, so like I said before, okay, we as a management people, okay, we don't have the skills, we don't have the knowledge, okay, deeper knowledge to understand the mathematical modeling, okay, and then the techniques and etc. Okay, so we need to engage with analysts to help us to do the analysis. Okay, but sometimes some analysis, because this is not their problem. Okay, sometimes they have lack of commitment. Okay, they are not really care about our problem. Okay, so if possible we try to engage them to so that they understand what kind of problem we are facing, and uh, hopefully that they can engage with us, together with us. Okay, but most of the time is hard. Okay, so this is one of the problem where you want to where you want to not where you want the analyst not only aware about your problem, but they you can put them in your own shoes so that they understand empathically about your problem. Okay, analyst should work with user and take their feelings into account. Okay, so as an analyst you should work with your users and try to understand on the deeper level what is the problem. Okay, all right. Okay, so that is the first chapter for this subject, which is the introduction of quantitative analysis. Okay, so before we ending our class, is there any question, guys?
No, sir.
No.
Okay,
No, sir.
No.